What's the number one thing? Want to know what the number one thing to move the dials is in your business? So, first of all, thanks for being on this training. I know you've got a lot to do. And if you're anything like me, you've taken a lot of important time out of your day to do this. I appreciate it. And because I'm respectful of both our times, this is going to be really to the point. One thing you're probably used to when you look at materials like this or trainings like this is that someone goes rambling on and on and on. And it's people telling you basically to do the same thing that everyone else is. In other words, a lot of the stuff that you're going to hear from other people is going to be the same. I think what you're going to find on our training today is dramatically different. You know, I once heard that if you want to impress somebody, make something complicated. If you want to help them, keep it simple. I don't know about you, but I would rather have a simple solution to a problem than some complicated way of solving a problem that only later turns into a bigger problem due to the complex nature of the solution itself. So, what I want to talk to you about today is a little method of identifying where the money came from and then going and getting more of it. So, what's the one thing to move the dials in your business? Bet you think it's the offer. But it's not only the offer that can really affect your revenue. There's something else. Hey everybody, Mike Noone here. By far the coolest, most rewarding work that I get to do with a small group of people called my private client group. And my job with these folks is to be essentially the rainmaker in their business. So it's my job to look at everything that's going on and then find one big thing that they can do to increase revenue in the fastest and simplest way possible. I've got a really cool story for you. So a while back, I took on a new client. She's in Poland. Her name is Monica, and she does B2B sales. So she sells these complex things to other businesses. And when a new client will come on, if they can't make it to a meeting and in a reasonable amount of time, I'll do a consult with them over Zoom or on the phone or whatever. So I did this with Monica and I say, tell me, what's going on? What do you want to do? And she says, I really want to grow revenue. I said, okay, well, how does your process work? And she said, well, I've got two categories of clients and I want to focus on the category number one because category number one was bigger companies. I said, okay, well, tell me about these bigger companies. And she said, well, that's really good. They pay me on average X amount of dollars and they're awesome. I said, okay, well, what's the obstacle here? What's getting in your way? And she goes, well, the challenge is it takes about 6 months to close the sale. And I said, okay, what's category number two? And I don't really know if I want to mess with category number two, but it'll tell me who else are you selling stuff to. And that's why I also sell to smaller businesses, owner-operated companies, so not big companies, but businesses like mine, where I'm the owner of the company, etc. I said, okay, well, tell me about those customers. What do you not like from something or another? And what she said was, they're awesome. Actually, they're really nice people. They're very easy to help and they close faster. I'm like, okay, well, why not sell to them? And she said, well, they don't pay me as much. I said, well, okay, is it a big deal? They pay you a tenth as much or half as much? And she said, no, the big corporate guys pay something like, 20,000, and the smaller businesses, they usually pay me around 18,000. So I said, okay, so how long did it take to sell to these people? Because remember, the corporate guys, they took forever to close. That was the big challenge with them. And she said, well, these ones usually just take a couple of weeks. Well, let's think this through. If it takes the big corporations a couple of months and it takes the smaller businesses a couple of weeks, you could conceivably sell to 5 smaller businesses in the same amount of time it would take you to sell to one bigger company. And the difference in revenue is only a couple of grand. So in order to make that extra $3,000, you're leaving about $100,000 in sales on the table because you're focusing on all these guys that are really, really hard to sell, and you're ignoring the ones that are easier to sell, that pay you quickly, and they're a delight to work with. And once we kind of honed in on that and really got a prescription dialed in for how to focus on that segment of the market, things really, really took off. It was kind of crazy, as a matter of fact. A week or something later, she sent me an email. She said, I just want to give you a quick update. I focused entirely on that segment of the market. I've already seen $48,000 in sales. I've had a 100% close rate. I'm like, oh my God, this is fantastic. Here's the lesson. All right, the number one thing that can affect your revenue isn't always your offer. Obviously, the stuff that you have for sale needs to be good, but in many cases, it's the person that you're selling to. And in our private client group, we adhere to this principle called the best buyer principle. And that's defined as the person or the prospect, in other words, that is most likely to pay you the most, but also do so with the least amount of sales resistance and in the shortest amount of time possible, and assuming you can get the best results for them. In her case, she was thinking her best buyer was the biggest corporations because they do, technically speaking, pay them the most money. However, that was only one criteria, right? It still has to be in the most effective and shortest amount of time possible, and you have to be able to get the best results for them. Turns out big corporates took forever, they're a pain in the butt to sell, and they weren't always the easiest to work with. Maybe you can relate. Or there are small business owners who take a couple of weeks, a really easy sale, really easy to get results for. So my question to you is this. Are you selling to the right people? Are you focusing on the segment of your market that's most likely to pay you the most with the least resistance in the shortest and most efficient amount of time possible? And so, if you're not getting the growth you want, one thing you could do is really take a look and ask, hey, who am I selling to? And is this the right prospect for me? And if it's not, identify the ones who are. Make 100% of your marketing and advertising geared to attract those people. And eventually your revenues will go up without you having to do a lot of extra complicated work or do anything difficult for that matter. My name is Mike Noone, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I liked making it for you. And before you go, I just wanted to thank you for watching this video. And if your business does $250,000 or more in gross sales every year, and you'd like to grow your revenues while getting rid of complexity and stress, my company might be able to help you. We have a consulting program that's very unique in these ways. Number one, I literally guarantee you'll make at least twice our fee within the first 90 days of working together. And there's absolutely no catch to that or any fine print, nothing of that nature at all. We do this by eliminating clutter and distraction that's bothering you and keeping you from getting what you want, and then finding simple ways to increase revenue immediately. And then we take that and systemize what's working so that you have sustained growth as well. And our long-term goal with clients is a minimum of 20% revenue growth in the next 12 months. Look, I'm happy to give you a free initial consulting session. It's a way of using what I call the oldest trick in the book, which is to simply demonstrate I can help you by actually helping you. And from there, we can discuss whether or not we might be a good match in terms of working together. Regardless, I'm happy to help you find some low-hanging fruit opportunities to grow revenue in your business and do that for free. You can schedule a call with my office by going to noonemethod.com/apply. And on that website, you'll just see a couple of little multiple choice questions. And then you'll be taken to a calendar where you can schedule a time that works for you. You'll then be called by my assistant, Elaine, who will gather some basic information from you. She'll set an appointment for you to talk with me. And after that, I'll call you and together we'll brainstorm some easy ways for you to increase your revenues. Listen, I might be able to help you. I don't know. I'm not going to be like those other guys and just make wild promises. But if you want me to try, I might have some time to talk to you. Regardless, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you found it useful, and I look forward to working together soon. Thanks again.